Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master. Actually, I won't be. I'll be your friendly, what is it, game master, narrator, cult leader? I don't know. Today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign of playing, published by Modiphius Entertainment and Helmgast Studios, Kult, Divinity Lost, the most recent edition of the classic Swedish pulp horror game, or not pulp horror game, horror game, stuck in the pulp mode after running an adventure and talking about Acton Cthulhu. And with me today are the stars of our Kult Divinity Lost campaign, and which we're calling Those Left Behind, I believe. When I go the order I've got you guys on the screen here, tell us who you are, who you're playing, and I guess that's it. First up is Mo.
Hi, I'm Morris. I'm playing Mike Anderson, who is a FBI special agent in the Chicago field office.
Very nice. Next up is Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm playing Samuel Joseph, formerly Sam Jaspers. He is a former FBI agent that was involved in a case that caused him to disappear under mysterious circumstances and reappear, and which has completely changed his life. And yeah, we're finding out what that's about.
Very nice. And last but certainly not least is Carl.
Yes, I'm Carl. I don't have a character yet. We're going to do that today for the audience.
Yeah. So what we talked about before, Carl has not made the first couple of sessions on this, but Kult is a very story-focused and story-cognizant game. There's a lot of mechanics in the game that really build back in on itself to facilitate a collaborative kind of emergent story, and the connections to that story and the things that get highlighted are often in the hands of the players, because of just some of the way the mechanics work. So with that in mind, we thought that it might be the best way to incorporate a new character might be to do a character creation session with everybody present. And one of the things we talked about before, Carl and I talked about yesterday, I guess, is that one of the things you need to decide when you're making setting up a cult campaign fresh is like how much obvious supernatural stuff you want to have in it, and are your characters aware of the supernatural world and whatever. We decided to go with more of a Wayne Scott kind of fantasy or Wayne Scott horror kind of thing, where there is some obviously bizarre shit that's happened to the characters, and they're going to be exposed to stuff as they go along, but they're not at the point of having, they're not inculcated in that, in that world just yet. So that means, closer to a, early X-Files kind of thing, as opposed to, say, Constantine or Hellblazer. But Carl, you said you had a couple of ideas of what sort of archetype. One of the ways you make characters in this is you start by selecting an archetype for your character.
Yeah, I had an idea. Well, I guess you wanted me to hear what...
Yeah, so what I thought I'd do is I'd have, in your own words, why don't Mo and Sean, why don't you guys tell Carl who you're playing and where they kind of have found themselves in the story thus far. Mo, you want to go first?
Yeah, hang on. Right, so Mike knew Sam when he was Sam, now Samuel. He's more of a backroom agent. He's not maybe a frontline special agent who goes out arresting people. He's more of a technical specialist. He does have a bit of a sideline in breaking and entering, as he's a
Mo,
climber.
sorry guys, it is Mo quiet for you?
Yeah, just check the levels. I'm
A little bit.
A little bit?
Let me just jack the levels. Is that a bit better?
Oh, there we go.
There you go, much better. Thank you, Mo. Sorry about that.
Sorry, it's a bit sensitive. Yeah. Right, so he's a special agent. So he's more of a specialist in the backroom side of things. He does also have some skills in breaking and entering for the occasions when the FBI does need to do black bag jobs. So he probably helps with planting bugs when they get an actual need for that sort of thing. So he's in his late 20s, 27, 28. He has a girlfriend who's a assistant district attorney, I think we said she was.
So Mo, just to help with the framing, what I think is going to be most useful for Carl is where you fit in the story, more so than just who your guy is.
Yeah. So I'm a younger friend of Samuel, who was always a little worried about what happened to Samuel, and he's a bit concerned about the way he sort of like spiraled into I wouldn't say dependency, but the problem. So he's been trying to help him out and try and support him.
You know what? Let's maybe we'll jump back and forth between you guys, because I think what might help here is the context for what's happened to Samuel. So, Sean, you want to tell us what sort of what happened to Samuel?
So Sam Jaspers was an agent, FBI agent, on a case with his partner 3 years ago, and as a result of that case, his partner disappeared. Well, they both disappeared, and then my character, Sam Jaspers, reappeared and basically goes by Samuel Joseph now for inexplicable reasons. So he's come back changed. There's no explanation really for his disappearance or his return. He doesn't really have anything to offer on it, and so he really couldn't remain an agent. Like, the whole thing kind of fell apart at that point as his partner's missing. He doesn't have an explanation for that. He doesn't have an explanation for his own reappearance, and he reappeared suddenly 3 years without warning in Sarajevo, which is
it was the same. Like, the night he went in for the investigation, and then the next morning is when he reappeared in Sarajevo at the American embassy, right? And time had passed, it seemed, because of his growth of his hair and his whatnot.
Oh, yeah. So it didn't pass in real time, but it passed for him, right? That's what we...
Yeah.
In a sense.
From the FBI's perspective, what happened is these two agents who were investigating, and we haven't revealed much of that particular investigation yet, but they were investigating something. The two of them went into a building. Mo's character, Mike Anderson, was a junior agent at the time, working on the periphery of that. Sam and Joseph went into this house at night. The next morning, Sam comes staggering up to the American embassy in Sarajevo, and no one's seen Joseph since. And that obviously resulted in some very, some problems for Sam's continued employment, because he couldn't explain what happened, what his disappearance was, his relocation, what he was doing in Sarajevo. And then the more weird things that started to build up, the more they decided to just push Sam out to pasture. There still are other weird things that have come up, but it's sort of a match in a forest fire situation. Like, Mike Anderson knows that medical scans that were taken of Samuel after he got back have revealed that there was a fracture that he had in his leg that required hardware to be put into it. And between the time of when he disappeared and when he reappeared, that stuff managed to wear itself free as if it had happened over a span of years. And no one really cares. Like, no one, it's a weird little anomaly that they just don't care. There's too many other weird things, in particular a missing agent. But Sean, I'll throw it back to you again. When you got back, though, one of your contacts, I believe, was related to.
Yeah, so I get back, and I'm going by a different name. I'm on a disability pension with the Bureau, and I'm really living kind of hand to mouth. Not not so much homeless as sort of in a weird space of, just changed and don't really care about things that normal people care about. And I'm kind of trying to figure things out. I know I know things, but I'm not sure what they are. I mean, the whole thing's just kind of confusing to me. I'm very connected still with my disappeared partner's daughter, who's an adult. Jennifer goes by Jenny Peters. Missing partner was Joseph Peters, and then my other main contact is a street fortune teller. Well, not a street, has an office, but a fortune teller of the very schlocky variety. But Samuel Joseph, as my character now goes by, now, while he knew of her before in a very offhand way because he drove by the office, her little office retail with the glowing lights and the flashing open sign, now he is of the opinion, at least, that that she actually knows a lot more than is obvious, and now has pretty deep connection with her, and so that's getting developed, but she's right out of a gypsy movie, and yet now he takes her extraordinarily seriously, and as a key, and he believes is a key piece in the puzzle to what happened to him, or at least knows what happened.
One of the things we talked about is the building relationship between her name is Madame Yoseveski, and the relationship between Madame Yoseveski and Samuel is such that, like, whatever connection she had to the spirit realm, they feel it has been weakening, or she feels it's been weakening, whereas Samuel's is growing stronger over time. Turning to the actual events of what's happened so far in the game, we had Mike had a visitor at the office who had dropped off a kind of mysterious package that was it was Jenny, right? Jenny Peters. It's the daughter of Sam's old what do you call it? Old partner. That led to that package was then seized by a kind of nemesis of Mike's or of Samuel's. It was Mike's, and
my nemesis.
Yeah, and then so Mike wasn't sure. The package was she was trying to get it to Samuel, but just didn't have a way of contacting him. Then what else happened last time, guys?
Okay. So we last time. Give me a second. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Well, last time we sort of opened with me finding out that my nemesis had not properly entered the package into the system, because obviously all those sort of things need to be tracked properly. And he was sort of thinking, well, I'll let the bureaucratic process work. He then was on his way to a mid-price restaurant with his girlfriend to have a meal with his girlfriend, and Jenny rang up in some distress that some guys had been watching her from outside her house, and she was getting worried. So I made my apologies to my significant other and started to drive to Jenny's, when I then got
hold on, Mo,
tail-ended.
that's not quite accurate. You never even made it to the restaurant. You got the call when you were driving?
I diverted.
Yeah.
And then I got tail-ended by a car and sort of run off the road. Phone smashed up, car out of action. Let me check my notes. I then called that in from a call box, the normal police stuff, and then got a cab over to Jenny's place. I then, do we want to tell me when we'll switch back?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's,
So, Sean, what happened?
So I had the two places I had been so far is that Samuel Joseph went to visit Madame Bronislava Joveski at her office, and had a vision that involved his whole puzzle. And in brief, always wants more answers from her, and whether she's holding back, or he thinks she's holding back, but that's unknown. But she's always seems very knowledgeable. He also, and I think he is to fill for Carl's benefit. I think Samuel Joseph is useful to her because of his being so. Kind of a facilitator of the spirits. Like he's obviously kind of a conduit in a sense, in some way. So it's useful to her in that way, seemingly. So he goes from her office and then decides to go see Jenny. Has a real yearning to see his ex-partner's daughter, and so goes to her place and arrives before Mike does, who comes into the scene shortly, but goes into and sees Jenny. They have kind of a warm sort of reacquaintance, because she can't really she has a hard time getting hold of him for all the. Oh, that's right. And Samuel is her godfather, because of his close relationship with Jenny's father, as partners and friends and all this. So at some point, it is the dog barks, and it's clear that something's outside. Samuel Joseph kind of snaps to in a way that he normally doesn't. This invokes his kind of past life, if you will, of there's something going on. He's kind of purposeful and checks the door. There's obviously a threat outside. Moe's character, Mike Anderson, appears on scene. You wanna take a little bit from there, Tom?
Okay. So I arrive via cab or however, and I find that there are people watching it, and shortly thereafter.
Well, no, you arrived when they were at the door.
Yeah, and then there was effectively a firefight between myself and the Watchers.
After you identified yourself and tried to...
Oh, yes, I just did try the... what are you doing here? Here's my badge.
Yeah.
Being very official. And then there was a brisk firefight, including fully automatic weapons, which surprisingly Mike actually managed to disable. I think some of them had gone inside. I think we worked that out.
Yeah, someone went inside and around the side of the house as well. And so, Samuel, you had managed to take care of all but one.
Yeah, I mean, he's such he's usually kind of a lost soldier, if you will, and but this gave him, when this kind of brought to the foreground that when he can get out of his own way, and something was purposeful, and there's a threat not just to himself but to Jenny, and these were pretty serious characters. So this was not like a just some weird street robbery. Like this was, there were four of them, and so he goes to the kitchen. He investigates what the dog's barking about. He sees that this is serious. Mm-hmm. Goes to the kitchen for a knife because he doesn't have a weapon, and they kick in the door. He changes his mind about defending the door and goes and then runs after. Oh, and told Jenny to get out of here. So she immediately, as he goes to the kitchen. So she's on the way out the back. At the time the door gets kicked in, he changes his mind and decides to pursue, Jenny, to defend her out in the backyard, and then encounters one of these ne'er-do-wells out there and springs on him. There's a shot rings out. Actually, he gets shot at in the house. Briefly, he dashes out of the house. Doesn't get hit. Dashes out of the house. And this is, I think it's nighttime. It's nighttime, isn't it, at this point?
Yep.
And throws himself, because he knows, he's been there plenty of times, because of his relationship with Jenny and her father, and so he's pretty certain where Jenny went, and he sees one of these ruffians in the back, and so basically throws himself at that guy with a little bit of surprise, and they end up in a fight where he buries his blade in the back, his kitchen knife in the guy's kind of his back, and they keep struggling and wrestle for the gun, and then another ruffian comes out of the house at that point, and I believe did he shoot
around the side of the house? I think there was
side of the house.
Yeah, the two at the side of the house. The one that was coming through the house that was shooting at Sam initially, that one seems to have gotten away.
Yep. So, and he's going after Jenny, and what I believe to be probably trying to pursue Jenny, where I'm pretty sure she went, and I am able to. And so at that point, we're wrestling. I'm trying to get the gun. And I go for the knife in the back to use it, as leverage on this guy because it's buried in him. And the whole thing goes wrong. This guy's bigger, younger. He hasn't been lost. He's actually still. If Samuel Joseph used to be a badass, he's no longer a badass. This guy's still a badass. So he even though he's stabbed, he rights that ship quickly, and it starts going badly. And at that point, seeing what's going on, I'm trying to think of how it manifested, but whether how voluntary it is. But at one point, this guy grabs, in that moment, he grabs Samuel as it's going south for Samuel, and they look at each other. And at that point, kind of Samuel's, you know, for lack of a better term, it's not quite right, but you know, Samuel's madness, he's a portal in one way or another, and it opens up on this guy. And this guy, you know, sees something he wasn't prepared for, and like, you know, basically kind of, how would you describe his reaction, Kevin?
Well, he staggered back, like recoiling in a horror, tripped on something, and fell onto the knife, driving it into his back and killing him.
Right. So then Samuel's like, you know, kind of, I mean, you know, this isn't like a superhero thing. Samuel's as surprised as that guy, you know, looking at now this, you know, gargling in, you know, death throes, you know, guy he was losing to a second ago. And then, of course, you know, snaps back and runs after where he certainly saw the other ruffian go, and he's pretty sure where Jenny went.
Now, the only other...
and then Mike, I'm sorry, Mike appears right before that. My bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mo. On
Yeah, I think I catch up with them.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can't remember where we finished off. Unfortunately, I was unable to catch up fully.
No, that's okay. So what happened?
One?
You guys you did join Jenny at a neighbor's place that Sam knew she was going to be. But then that we closed with Sam seeing something that ties back into visions that he had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? I was a little bit hazy, but it's all coming back now. So Carl, I'd had them. So hearkening back to the vision I'd had at Madame Yosevsky's place, I had gone back to. I was suddenly back at that day, the day that, you know, changed my life. Going into that residence with my partner. And I was in the backyard with my partner going around the front, and you know, things were strange, and they were also, I was remembering them different than they actually happened, and I was aware of that, like, oh, is this what happened? Like, you know, things were happening that didn't seem to quite match with what actually happened back then, but I thought there was someone looking at me in the basement through like a little tear in the newspaper, and I tried to see in. I couldn't see in because it was too dark. Then I felt like there was someone outside, and it turned out to be down another alley in that general vicinity. There was a person with a World War I helmet on and a suitable rifle that was turning towards you. So, you know, just completely out of sorts, like unexpected, and turns and shoots at me and hits me in the shoulder, in the arm. And at that point, back in Madame Yovesky's office, I basically was stabbed with a pen. I mean, I had kind of stabbed myself, you know, in this kind of crossover situation with this kind of ornate fountain pen she had given me in my work with her that day, that she'd said, you know, to do something, gave me this old fountain pen, and I was now kind of stabbed with it in the arm, which is where the bullet had gone into my vision. So with that being said, going back to where we were talking about before, Carl, pursuing where Jenny went to a neighbor's, we were in there with Jenny, and I suddenly, you know, there was something where I look out the window and I once again see one of a male individual, basically kind of in a World War I sort of, you know, persona, certainly with the helmet and certainly with the rifle. And I feel like that we ended right there, unless I'm missing something.
The only other thing is the auto writing. Do you remember what was on the auto writing?
So she gave me, Carl, back again to Madame Yovesky's office, the reason she gave me the pen. So I go under, and I go into this vision, and she wants me to, so I'm writing, I'm using the pen, but it's not me doing the writing. And I write down Jenny, I write down June 28, and I write down JP. And that is on the piece of paper when all of a sudden I have this vision that I've already described.
Do you remember what Sam didn't make an automatic connection with June 28, but do you remember what Madame Yosevsky said?
That it was the June 28th is the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. June 28th, 1914, Sarajevo. Bosnia, and that Sarajevo is where a reminder. That's where Samuel Joseph reappeared the next morning after he disappeared on that case, on that fateful day that he had a vision about. So obviously, it's tie-in. All that is kind of tying in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's sort of the mystery that the characters are involved with thus far, and who the guys are playing so far.
So I have two ideas.
Sure.
I think, yeah. So one would be, it seems like the two connections are between Jenny and Madame Yovesky. So I had two ideas. So one would be like a very protective friend of Jenny's. It could be male or female, who is now like sees this godfather figure coming back and being a danger to Jenny and wants to get involved in a protective way, but has maybe seen things. That's not my most interesting choice to me, because I can already picture Steve Buscemi in my head playing this character. Mm-hmm. is a bookie who goes to Madame Yovesky, often, and because she can give him insight as he is making his, because bookies gamble too, right?
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, and then he owes Madame Yovesky, or maybe he also sees things, and him being maybe, now that you have the Sarajevo connection, maybe him being of descent from, an ethnic group in that, from Hungarian or whatever. That
What archetype are you thinking?
A fixer.
A fixer? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so he'd be a bookie. He goes to Madame Yovesky,
Yeah.
and then Madame's like, well, these people came to me, and since I give you all this insight, you need to help me.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But that might be kind of fun,
Yeah, I
do.
agree. So hold on, let me see the.
I don't, not to provide comic relief, but to have
Sure.
No, and you know what,
that connection.
The thing is, I think that there's been we've even in the funny moments, we have funny stuff happens in in horrors at times, because it's just or at least the good horror, because if it's just grim the entire time, you never have how do you contrast that with the scary bits?
Right.
So great. So that sounds awesome. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Jump
No,
up,
yeah,
yeah.
that sounds fun.
Okay. Cool. So then I've got the fixer thing here. All right. So then the first thing you need is you will be assigning. Let's see here.
I put archetype then, right? Fixer?
Yes. Yep. Archetype will be fixer.
And this occupation is a bookie occupation.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Fixer. All right. So then you will be selecting one dark secret from forbidden knowledge, guilty of crime, heir, pact with dark forces, or victim of crime.
I think the victim of the crime might be,
Okay.
sometimes people don't want to pay up when they lose, and maybe that could be part of the tie-in to Madame Yovesky.
Sure.
He got beat up, left for dead, stranded on a.
Let's see what victim of crime.
Thrown into a subway track, and she or one of her friends, rescued him, something like that.
Okay.
But I don't know, victim. I haven't even looked victim of crime.
Yeah, let's see here. Well,
That's what it
it's
does.
here we go.
I'm just picking these because I don't know. I haven't looked anything up. I'm doing something
Let's
that I. So
Hold on here.
there's this
So a
I
dark
mean
secret.
going.
Yeah,
Dark Seeker, go ahead.
Here we go. Victim of crime. So these, what this links to is your personal drive. Is what motivates your character. You have endured a terrible crime. Your whole life is marred by this event, and you cannot mentally suppress the violation, no matter how hard you try. Fear, shame, anger, and a sense of helplessness torment you, and in order to survive this trauma, you must find a way to heal your wounds. Suggested personal drives are: get revenge on the perpetrator, re-experience the crime again, find out why it happened to you, stop similar crimes, confront and forgive the perpetrator.
So I choose one of those.
Those are suggestions for things that would just motivate your character, why you're going to be engaging with the story.
I'd say stop similar. I can choose one now.
Yeah.
I think stop similar crimes.
Okay.
I think it's.
And the thing is, the fact that you're a bookie is completely unrelated, or could be unrelated to whatever your crime is too. Like the thing that happened to you could be unrelated
could have been totally random. Right?
Yeah.
Totally random, and not even though you might think it was someone that didn't want to pay up, it could be totally
Yep. Okay.
totally random.
Next thing you're going to do
That's
is select 2 disadvantages. The ones that are suggested are competitor, cursed, greedy, jealousy, liar, and stalker.
What's stalker? Stalker is someone who's following you, right? You're not the stalker.
Stalker is, let's see here. You're hunted by a faceless enemy. Anyone you meet could be one of their minions, or even the stalker themselves. No one can be trusted. You must constantly change your address and be vigilant at all times to avoid leaving any tracks they can follow. In the first game session, whenever you expose your current location, we roll for it, and then we see what happens. I get narrative meta currency called hold that I can use to fuck you over, basically, in the game.
I think that makes sense. He doesn't know, because maybe this, like I said, he was left for dead, right? So he doesn't know who did it. They might still be after him.
Okay.
He has no idea. Like you said, it could have been totally random.
Okay, so
But I like Stalker.
Stalker will be one of yours, and then you select one more as well.
Okay, is that okay with everyone? I don't want to screw the party over, though.
No, get in there. It sounds good to me.
And one of the things, like,
the other thing I thought was greedy, because he is a bookie.
Yep. I think that sounds great and completely consistent with the way you've been describing. You are driven by an unquenchable desire for money and wealth and are prepared to sacrifice your health, family, and friends to fill the emptiness inside. When an opportunity to increase your wealth arises, we roll for a check, and then depending on how that roll goes, your greed may affect you.
Okay. 3 advantages now, huh?
Now, 3 advantages, yeah. And
streetwise, is that to me seems right?
Okay, let's take a look and see what it does here. Oh, let me just move. Got my cards, my thing here. So streetwise does, that's a charisma, isn't it?
Yeah, it says charisma.
Okay, so one of the things that you might want to keep in mind is which abilities these use. So when you're assigning your attributes, you can make sure that you're actually good at the stuff you want to be good at.
Okay.
Okay, so charisma. I think that the layout for this was probably done when it was in Swedish, because it's not alphabetical in English.
Oh, that's weird.
No, it's just, I mean, like the... No, hold on, maybe it is.
It is.
It is, yeah, I stand corrected. Okay, let's see here. Now, the layout, like the book, is one of the prettiest RPGs we...
Yeah, I think I got the Bible version.
Oh, awesome.
So I ordered that little,
I've been trying to track that one down. I really want a copy, but it's cost prohibitive right now on eBay, and I'm just waiting for a copy to show up at Noble Lane.
Okay. Well, I ordered it. I added it, put it as an add-on through the Kickstarter. But of course,
nice. Okay, so Streetwise. Streetwise, whenever you want to acquire items or services from the criminal underworld, you make a roll. So this gives you a move to try and acquire shit from the seedier side of crime.
That sounds like a bookie.
Cool. Other ones suggested ones include forked tongue, ace up the sleeve, backstab, boss, extortionist, sixth sense, or worldly.
I know I don't want extortionist. I gotta look up. How weird is? I mean, sixth sense could work because he has his tie-in with Madame Yevesky. I feel.
I mean, the world is a supernatural world, so if he has let's see what it does. Sixth sense. You have an intuition for things both good and bad. At the start of each game session, you make a roll with your soul attribute, and then you choose 3 options. Well, depending on what you get, you may have some options here. The options include acting first in a threatening situation. This can include acting prior to a surprise attack, sense whether someone wishes good or ill towards you, or discover or sense a clue or lead when you're off track.
Okay.
So it's cool. One of the things that we've found with this is like a lot. The fun thing about, or one of the fun things about Kult is that like we don't need to have answers to everything to start with. We can start filling stuff in as we go, as the story comes together, and that's very much for these types of abilities as well, where like discover or sense a clue or lead when you're off track. That might. That's one of those things that can help you kind of, there isn't really like a right way to go through things, but a way for me to feed you something. If you want to spend some of that currency, it gives me a way to feed some more possible leads to you. the other thing I want to suggest is maybe if you do go with this that advantage, what if the time you got hurt was when you didn't listen to it?
Yeah, I totally did not, went against my intuition not to take that train or whatever.
Okay.
Get on that train. Maybe probably get on that train.
Do you think it's someone who may have betrayed you? Or is just bad judgment on your part?
I don't think I know. I don't think he knows.
Okay. We can think about it.
I
mean,
maybe, I don't know.
We don't need an answer to it right now. It's something you can discover as we go along. So is Sixth Sense your second one?
Yeah, and then Ace Up the Sleeve is the third one. I know it's splitting up my advantages, but I think that's fine for me.
So anyone rolling with things they're bad at, I'm all in favor of that in every game. So
yeah, well, because I think the Sixth Sense is probably, since he questions it, it's probably going to be like Soul's probably going to be. I think Sixth Sense is Soul, right?
Ace Up the Sleeve is when someone's got you up against the wall or in a tight spot, roll Coolness, and then you get 2 edges. And what edges are is just small situational advantages. They can be things that give you, like the examples I give here are a small concealed lethal weapon that you can produce unnoticed. You realize your opponent has a weakness, and you get a +2 to your next roll, or you spot a way out. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I think that's like, he's like Weasley, a little.
Yeah, but tenacious.
Way.
I mean, since that
Okay. Does that sound cool with everyone? So far we have victim of a crime. That's a dark secret. Stalker and greedy has disadvantages. And then Streetwise, Sixth Sense, and Ace Up the Sleeve.
Oh, that sounds good.
Think?
And I don't think
sounds good.
I think I think there's only one potential overlap with an ability that someone, not ability, but like a disadvantage that someone doesn't. Someone else have Stalker, or am I wrong about that?
Let's see here. So I'll do quickly. My disadvantages are broken and involuntary medium, and my advantages are street contacts and daredevil.
Okay.
So that's my situation.
Okay. So the next thing you do, Carl, is you're going to assign to your fortitude, reflexes, and willpower. 1 is +2, 1 is +1, and 1 is +0. So fortitude, reflexes, willpower, +2, +1, +0. And then I'll put the modifiers for your other stats in here, and you can assign them.
So do you think his survival is because of will or because of? I feel like it's because of will, not fortitude. But
your call.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna do a 2 in willpower, 0 in fortitude. Because I think that makes sense because he got beat to shit, So
yeah,
that makes sense. And then reflexes. Well,
okay, and then for your primary,
maybe the other way around.
Which that is
he endured the injury, he just couldn't avoid it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes him a tough little. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So then the stats I put in the chat there: +3, +2, +1, +1, +0, -1, -2. Those are for your 7 active attributes. So charisma, coolness, intuition, perception, reason, soul, and violence.
Okay. Well, I'll put 3 in his charisma. 2. Maybe coolness. 1 in soul. 1 in. So now I have reason, perception. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I'll put 1 in intuition so we can play up on his not. Maybe 0 might be better. 2, 0, 2, 1. Perception. And violence. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I have 1 reason, 0 intuition, -2 to perception. He's just not very aware. 2 for coolness, 3 for charisma. He's very likable. Mm-hmm. 1 for soul, -1 for violence.
Okay.
It's not a.
Yeah,
violent.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah. Well, I like to talk his way out of things, right?
Sure. Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
And then intuition, I put at 0 because he's doesn't know if he should trust it or not.
Okay. So then we have for his looks. And I think you said you're thinking of Steve Buscemi type.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi wearing. I saw that sportswear. so kind of bulging eyes, bony.
Okay.
wears preferred clothing is sportswear. You know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so then the other thing we've got is we need a name for your character. And then we're not. You guys don't know each other yet, so there's no relationship between the player characters. But you're going to pick 3 additional relations. One of them neutral at 0, one of them meaningful at +1, and one of them vital at +2. And subject to Sean's approval, I'm fine with you having one of those be Madame Yoseveski, if you'd like.
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, it's kind of fun if you I mean, do whatever you want, but there's definitely if you connected through her office. I mean, it's a very interesting point in the in our setup.
I like the sort of kind of Slavic, you know, Eastern European theme that you have going. And to me, it makes sense in any city that you're going to have people of similar backgrounds knowing each other, hanging out together. So if you know, my guy is of, you know, Hungarian or whatever descent, then, you know, or Polish, I guess Yoveski is, well, maybe Yoveska. I don't know. What is Madame Yoveski? It doesn't matter, right?
You know, it's whatever.
Vague Eastern European.
I think Yoseveski is probably a Polish name, which means she's and that's, I mean, Poland, I believe, is a predominantly Catholic country, whereas a lot of those other ones are at least like Hungary is Orthodox.
Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah, but some of the like there are some Croatia. Croatia is Catholic, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh, it could be Croatian. That might be fun. Okay. All right.
Certainly a good reason for why a lot of folks around your character's age, from the sounds of things, would have been moving to North America around that time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay. And then what else do I need? Name. I need.
And I had a suggestion for your name.
Barker.
Nope, didn't like that one. Let's try another one. Goober. What about let's see here. Well, sorry, you said, is it a like a name appropriate for an Eastern European name, or is it
I got it. I got the last name. The last name's good because it could be like pass for America. Just the first name.
Okay.
I think Joe or Joseph. That's your last name, right? Samuel. Yeah.
Good with me. I mean,
So Joe Novak. Joe Novak.
I mean,
cool.
I've already confused the entire situation by not only changing my character's name from the very beginning, but also using 2 first names to be his name. You know, the whole thing's. You know,
if he has an aunt, you know, she calls him Joseph, right? Like Joseph, right there. But you know, he goes by Joe.
Joe Novak, love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anna approves as well.
Yeah. And then relations. I need
so you need 3 relations. One of them is meaningful at +1. One of them is vital at +2, and one of them is neutral. The reason that's assigning those numbers is important. Do you remember, Sean? What did Sam assign to Jenny?
Let's see. His relations. Jenny is a +1, meaningful +1.
The reason that's important, because I was reading this after our last session, in a scene where you experience closeness, assurance, and affirmation from a relation, your stability is improved a number of steps equal to the strength of the relation value. Now, I know you have a ceiling on how good how much recovery you can afford, but I thought that you did suffer a little bit more stability loss last time, right? So
I think you are correct. I was neurotic, so that's correct. I think I was 1. I had a one worse.
Okay, so you can recover that back because of her, the scene that we had where you were talking to her beforehand.
Nice. Okay.
I think I'm going to give him I'll give the Madame Yoveski will be the +1.
Okay.
Or else he wouldn't do anything for her, right? And I think vital. I think I just had an idea of like his older aunt. You know, maybe his parents have.
Anna.
Possibly his father might still be back in Europe, but his mother passed away, and he's now with his aunt, or his aunt is very vital to him. So I'm going to say his aunt Maria.
Okay. Is she in Detroit or is she elsewhere?
Yeah, say she's in Detroit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the what you want to pick for this
that's
is
why I would
things,
be there. It's meaningful.
yeah, like things that would show up in the scene. It's things they're for you to take advantage of and for me to fuck around with.
Yeah.
Okay. And sorry, what's your aunt's last name, or what was her name?
It's Marie. She'll go by Marie in the U.S., but it's like the spelling is with a J. Like
yeah.
Marija.
Okay.
Marija, yeah. and then a different last name than his because he has his father's name, right?
Okay.
So I'll give you the last name because it's fun. I'll say a complex one because I like to have you pronounce these things.
Done.
Kovacevic.
Kovacevic?
I'll put it.
Sure.
Kovacevic.
Okay.
Got some marks on there. I like it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Kovacevic, yeah.
Okay. And then
where I grew up has a the whole north end of Winnipeg is all like Orthodox churches and whatnot too.
Wow.
I grew up around a lot of Eastern European names, so bring them on.
Yeah, that's cool. So vital is meaningful is +1, right? Meaningful. Right. So I guess like his aunt is his bond, right?
Okay.
And it probably could get him in trouble because he's supposed to. He has someone following him. He has to always make sure he knows his aunt knows where he's at, which could be a bad thing.
Okay.
But, he wants to keep tabs on her too.
Okay. And then I'm sorry, what was the third? So we got Madame Yoseveski, we got Maria,
the neutral one.
Kovacevic, and then what's the neutral one? What do you think?
Probably one of like a fellow bookie.
Okay. Yeah.
His name, fellow bookie. Let's give him.
What if he's from outside of your community?
What do you mean?
Like maybe it's if someone from a different community, like it could be someone from like
the
black community in Detroit.
Yeah, probably I'll definitely say that like in the black community, like because there are definitely a lot of bookies into sports betting.
Yeah.
So let's give a guy named it's like Darnold Allen. I like that.
Darnold Allen. Okay. Love it. Only because I saw that that film quite recently. I've got Don Cheadle in my head for what Darnold looks like. I can remember the name.
Yeah, totally. That could work. Yeah, maybe he's like a he affects a British accent even.
Worst performance of his. I think that same year he was in that, and he was in Hotel Rwanda. It was an interesting year for Don Cheadle.
Okay. So I got bulging eyes, bony, skinny, preferred clothing is sportswear. Yes, he's always calculating.
Okay.
Because he's greedy and,
Okay.
I was trying to...
right. Mo and Sean, do you have any other comments or suggestions for Carl?
That's really quick.
Yeah.
I like it.
Carl, maybe you want to give like just the real quick. I mean, I heard most of that, but not like. So give me the quick executive summary, just the real like who's your guy and his little details.
So Joe Novak is a bookie in Detroit. He a few years ago he was beat up and left for dead, much to the consternation of his Aunt Maria. But Madame Yoveski or someone loyal to Madame Yoveski or a friend of Madame Yoveski took him in, and the medium helped him recover. He started a relationship with her, and because of his sort of sixth sense and his bookmaking, maybe he's made Madame Yoveski some money too, even though she gives him
May I make a
spiritual
suggestion?
tips. Yeah.
So what I'm picturing is sort of our opening, like introduction to this in the film version of our campaign. The way we would meet Joe Novak is like one of those flashback scenes where you see like things are sort of in sepia and people are dressed in like 70s clothing or like late 80s clothing or whatnot. And there's a guy in, with a clearly obvious, Eastern European kind of accent and whatnot, who's running a game of three-card Monte. Yeah. And we see the kid come up with his, he's going to buy a comic book or something like that with the money, but he decides to stop and do that. And he manages to, like once or twice he picks the right thing, so he gets a little bit of money back. A little crowd kind of grows up. We then see he goes to put money down again, And then the guy does something, and he stops and looks at this little kid, looks at this guy, and he's like, "You're cheating. You're cheating," because he knows that there's no chance of him winning at this point. And the crowd can like, "Hey, what are you cheating the kid for?" And the guy kind of picks up and runs off. But what's left behind is this kid picking up the money that gets knocked on the ground, and Madame Yoseveski, who senses that the reason he's able to pick these fucking things because he's got a touch of the gift in him.
Okay.
And then we cut to this kid, we cut to your guy standing before a young kid, reverse situation, a kid running a game of 3-card Monty, and you're put down and like, "Oh, I guess I lost," like to show that you're kind of a good guy, you're not trying to hustle a kid. You're intentionally losing to a kid who's running a game on you. And then maybe he gives a little tip to the kid.
I can ask his dad's like, "Hey, so you want to be betting on that Lions game?"
Exactly. You're getting better, kid, but make sure you're turning your cards too fast. Do this instead. Okay. So what we need to do at the start of the session is your two disadvantages are Stalker and let's see. Okay, so for Stalker, first game. Why don't you give us a roll of 2d10, please?
All right, so he uses d10s. 16.
Okay, 16, nice. You're safe for now. So for this session, you're safe. And then your other one was what? Greedy. Right? Okay, so greedy comes up. That's situational. Comes up when comes up, and then your advantages. One of those was 6th Sense, right?
Yeah.
I think that one we have to roll at the start of the session. Mm-hmm. And where is it here? 6th Sense. Here we go. So go ahead and give us a soul roll, please.
Soul. So I add my +1.
Just you click on your soul, it'll roll for you.
Oh, very nice.
Mm-hmm. The character sheet's pretty good. The one thing I think we found is that I don't know if it tracks.
What modifier? Oh,
no modifier.
Okay.
Nice. Oh, wow. So you have 3 options that are usable anytime this session, and we roll this at the start of each session. Mm-hmm. And again, your options are act first in a threatening situation. This can include acting prior to a surprise attack, sense whether someone wishes you good or ill, and discover or sense a clue or lead when you're off track.
And I can use one of these.
Each one of those points can be spent for any one of those options.
So how many points do I have?
3. Because of your result, you got 3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay, and then your other ones were...
Streetwise and Ace Up the Sleeve. I think Ace Up the Sleeve is definitely like bad situational.
Yeah, so Ace Up the Sleeve situational, and Streetwise is a move that you can do. Yeah, so that's going to be situational as well too. So then the last thing we need to talk about, which is your dramatic hooks. So now, a dramatic hook is a player request for the character to take a certain action during the story. During each game session, each player should have 2 dramatic hooks for their character. At the beginning of the first session, the player chooses 2 dramatic hooks on her own, and in later sessions, the PC receives dramatic hooks from other players and the GM. At the end of the session, when she's fulfilled a dramatic hook, she asks the other players to think of a new one. So a dramatic, when it's fulfilled, you get 1 experience point, and you can exchange... you can ask to exchange a dramatic hook of one for another if the game session passes without it being fulfilled. So the examples they give, I'm on page 136 of the core rulebook. When a player thinks of dramatic hooks, they may use the following verbs for inspiration and then finish the sentence with something appropriate. So the examples are: you should finish, you should reveal, you should tell, you should visit, you should complete, you should confront, you should investigate, or you should develop. And examples they give are like, you should visit the place where your kidnapper took you. You should reveal your infidelity to your wife. Once you fulfill the dramatic hook, regardless of what transpired in the scene, as long as the character executed the verb, you get your XP for it. And we actually, both guys revealed, I think one of Sean's from last time was, you should, let's see here. So Sam's were, you should investigate Yoseveski.
Yep.
And you should visit Jenny.
Yep.
And both those were, and then you should visit Samuel, was Mike's, and you should investigate the box. And he did both of those. What you guys set last session was for one for each. For Mike, the suggestion was that you should investigate the attackers. So, Mike, that's one of your dramatic hooks for the session. And then what yours was for Sam is you should reveal what happened in Sarajevo. That one's a little broad, so I'm not sure we're going to get to that full thing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What I'd like first, just so we can get some examples going, is Sean and well, here let's actually if the GM can do this too. So let me put one in for you. Sam, I think.
These are dramatic hooks for the session?
These are dramatic hooks for the session, yeah.
Okay.
I think you should... visit Madame Yozoveski.
Okay.
Okay. And Mike... I think you should investigate let's see, investigate. I think you should investigate how your reporting through the FBI may have had an impact on you. So what you did was last session was you, I think, lodged like an HR complaint effectively through the FBI, and then within hours an attempt was made on your life. I think you should investigate that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was an HR complaint, but it was basically I wouldn't say a grievance, but it's like something has gone wrong and needs to be investigated.
Yeah. Okay. So then those are the dramatic hooks that we have for Mike and Sam. Carl, this first session for Joe. So what do you think Joe's 2 dramatic hooks will be?
Oh man. I'd say he wants to reveal. Is it too soon to reveal my dark secret to a stranger?
Way too much. Yeah, I think you can take your time with that. Like that, it'll feel right to do that. I think. I mean, you can if you'd like to, but there's. You will find, I think, that the game is so much of a conversational kind of thing, even more so than what City of Mist felt like. This feels much more like because you guys are setting what you want to happen. One I might suggest is that for Joe to visit Madame Yozoveski. Okay. Perhaps. You're free to set them as you are, but if the reason, I guess, there is a certain level of strategy to your setting of your dramatic hooks as well, because you want to get that XP, right?
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to think of something that's going to involve.
Well, Sean or Mo, if you guys have suggestions for Carl as well too, please feel free.
Let's see.
I think he's possibly more likely to have known Samuel. Or at least maybe they've passed each other as they've.
Yeah,
well, no, they may have passed each other. Yeah.
I mean, it could have been in the last session. Samuel cut in line. I will throw out there. When he went to the madam's office, she did something dramatic, and acted very madam-esque, and dragged me in the back when I came in, and then snapped out of her role and said, "Yeah, I had to do that, or everyone will go bananas." This it was pretty funny, kind of thing. So it looked like, oh, something's happening.
Right, so so if he sees Sam again, he's have the mind to confront Sam about cutting in line.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Something, right? Or why is that guy?
Which is very uncharacteristic, right?
Yeah.
He's
so confront Sam about the favoritism that Madame Yozoveski. Okay.
Can I take a? I need to take a break.
Yeah, for sure. Let's. What do we take? Well, we finished character creation now. Why don't we take our mid-session break a couple minutes early here and then come back and then we'll jump into the game.
Great.
Cool.
Sound good? Okay,
Right.
so we'll be back
That's good.
in 5 minutes, folks.
Right.
All right. Back and ready to hydrate again. Okay. Sean, are you making Act on Cthulhu next weekend? I know you were trying to rearrange stuff.
Oh,
nice.
Yes.
Fantastic. I was
Good to go.
starting my prep for that last night.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was going to run that Romanian Imperative, the newest adventure that they had for it, and I don't think we have enough. Let me rephrase that.
Time?
I was gonna say I don't have enough time. The way I run games, I don't think I'll have enough time to get through it. I tend to fucking savor the journey. So rather than doing a short shrift for the adventure, I'm just going to write something for myself for it. Yeah. It's a shame that we don't have
two-parter.
It could, you know what? There's a lot of games I want to.
Tempting.
Already, our adventure session yesterday incorporated the Dracula dossier. And it worked really, really, really well. And I keep thinking how
interesting
that it would be a great pairing. Like the mechanics work quite well with it. It's got that a little bit of a lighter, story. What do you call it? Story kind of game elements to it. But like the Conspiramid and the Vampiramid that they've got on in Night's Black Agents would be very easily translatable, so I could make use of a lot of that stuff as written. And the story path system, the developer of the Trinity line, I posted something about Adventure on Twitter, and he responded and reminded me that you can actually get the newest version of Adventure. Now, for myself, like I'm kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I really did enjoy the game as written, but I have been looking forward to getting Storypath to the table, and Storypath does have it's a closer step towards like Star Trek Adventures in level of abstraction with the rules. So could be an interesting combo as well.
Yeah.
Which means I need to limit my, and I do have The Witcher. I don't think I've had a chance to run a proper session of The Witcher yet either, and I really want to get that done before the the newest season comes out in like 3 weeks. So I may not get to that yet, but we'll see.
I mean, it could be fun as The Witcher's, after it's out. It's kind of part of the fervor.
Yeah.
After.
I don't, but I genuinely enjoyed every time we've kind of fussed around with that game, and I don't want to make it seem as if we're just trying to chase, something that just happens to be released. I also suspect there's going to be other channels that will do exactly that, and I'd sooner just if it is a game that I have been wanting to get to the table. It's just Dark Fantasy. There's a lot of great games that we've had a chance to play in the channel, like Warhammer Fantasy, right? Warhammer Fantasy 2 is still can't wait to get back to that.
Yep.
Carl, if I might ask you to change,
I'm just now because you got me started, even have the session longer next week. It's not crazy. It's not insane if you went a little longer. Like you could bounce it off everybody.
The thing is, for me, I have a 3-hour session in the morning as well, so that's already 7 hours of 2 different games. So and the game starts at 8 my time after we have our Friday night session that ends at 11 my time. So
gotcha.
Yeah, just like for I generally don't feel tired by the end of a really good session, but keeping it to that tight 4. And the thing is too, the upside to it is that it doesn't spoil the adventure for anybody who wants to run it themselves. It gives you a chance to get a sense of seeing. We play with an awful lot of DMs, so it gives everyone a chance to see what the game is like and whatnot, and if they want to use a pre-generated adventure, they can feel free to do that. Or if I decide it's a good enough game that I want to try and run more of it, then we can do that as well.
Yeah.
It's tough to call. I think Pulp Cthulhu, we'll see how it runs. I expect I'm going to enjoy it a lot at the table because I like the 2D20 games quite a bit. But it's going to be interesting to see how that compares to adventure, because if I, it's like the Witcher has been in a spot where there's just been a lot of other dark fantasy games we've played this year, like Symbaroum was really good, Warhammer Fantasy was really good, AD&D second. I mean, it's not dark fantasy, but the way I run it is pretty dangerous and whatnot, so we've got a couple of those on the go. To add another one, it's tough to it's a lot of competition
out there.
Exactly, yeah. Which is the same thing for the pulp stuff, right? Because like Adventure was really fucking good, and also is more of a broad pulp game as opposed to Act of Cthulhu, which is a game set in a pulpish world, right? So I think it's still going to be good, and I think it's still going to be amazing. The game looks terrific, and I really enjoy the 2D20 system, but it's again that same like, well, I've got
a lot of competition.
Savage Worlds also sort of occupies that pulp area as well. So
yeah.
Who knows? But speaking of these characters, I know, sorry, Carl, what I was going to ask is if you wouldn't mind changing your display name to your character name.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now that I have a name.
Yeah, you have a name.
Right.
Okay. All right, and I got a list of...
Maybe it goes by Joey Novak.
Joey? Love it. Yeah. Now, I know there are some disadvantages that you guys have that trigger at the start of an adventure. Is there any disadvantage that you guys have that starts at the start of a session?
No. Yeah, mine is when I encounter spiritual entities or haunted places is the trigger.
Right. Because what are your two disadvantages?
Broken, which has the ceiling on my stability,
right,
and involuntary medium when I encounter spiritual entities or haunted places.
And what are your two, Mo?
It is Stalker and Rival, which we reckon was the other agent who took the package.
Yes, that's how I got that done. No, Rival.
Something Valentine was his name?
Whenever you make a mistake or let your guard down. Yes, so that definitely has happened. Mo, would you kind of give us a 2D10 roll, please?
Does Thomas rule apply on this one?
Thomas rule does not apply on this one. Okay. All clear. So I get no moves against you for this. And would you also give us another 2D10 roll for your stalker? Because you have exposed yourself by...
yeah, presumably this is...
14. Your enemies are on to you. I get one hold. So, what am I going to... I'm sure I've got something I can use as a way of tracking that. You know what? Because I so rarely get it out. I've got my chainmail dice bag that Dave made for me.
Oh, cool.
I'll use one of my Legend of the Five Rings Fantasy Flight things as my hold. Okay. And then I can spend that hold to make a move for your pursuers. For example, a trusted associate has been paid off by them. One of your loved ones or allies disappears. Something you are trying to do is undermined by your enemies, or they try to actively hurt you. I wonder what that might be. We see, I think, you know what? I'm going to spend my hold as we start this. So we had the little scene with Joey Novak as a kid, and then we see him finishing up with this other person, and then that he was collecting some, like a bet from. We cut to the, maybe this would actually be the cold open. As the previous night, as we see Jenny. No, not Jenny. What was your girlfriend's name again?
Amber, I think.
Amber, right. So we see Amber sitting at the restaurant, right? And like you said, it's a mid-range. It's not like a super fancy place, but it's a nice place to be out. And she gets the waiter says that there's a call for you at the front, and she goes up and we see she walks into the perennial empty hallway. Hello. And then we see sort of a quick cut away from there to suggest that something may have happened. So that is hold well spent.
Got that taken care of right off the bat.
No sense in waiting. We only got an hour and a half left. We're going to get some shit
Let's
done
not
here.
hold too long on that hold.
Exactly. There's always going to be more for next session. I have full faith that Mike is going to put himself in a dangerous position, and there'll be more that'll be coming in. All right, so then, let's first open up our... I think we're going to open up on the consequences of last session, guys. So let's open up in the... maybe with the light of day, the following day, with you guys walking around in the aftermath of the fight, with in Jenny's house. Mm-hmm. We see that like in that, and it's that kind of like grayish dawn, so everything's got kind of a washed out. The colors are desaturated a bit. The door, you can see that where the hinge has been busted from it being kicked in. You can see the bullet holes in the wall where that remember the banister or the lintel or whatever was splintered apart and injured Sam a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm still injured. I meant to mention that I'm, just to keep things, because a continuation.
I think Mike is pretty banged up. He did quite well for himself too, but Mike was pretty banged up. Now, one thing that I shortchanged Mike for before was that I didn't give you an opportunity to endure injury. So let's see if it's maybe not as bad as you think, Mike. Why don't you give us an endure injury roll? So this is going to be under fortitude, and it should apply the harm that you currently have as a penalty, or the harm that was caused as a penalty. One thing I screwed up last time is that it's not, when you take harm, you don't take harm as a 1-for-1 basis. Harm is the penalty on an endure injury roll, and then the result of that tells us how many wounds you get. So that's something I screwed up last session. Actually, you know what, Sam, you also get if you've been injured, you get an endure injury roll as well.
Okay. So
both Mike and Sam give us endure injury rolls, please.
Would Jenny's friend have a first aid kit to help? Or?
No.
Okay.
And also, you're pretty fucking banged up, so I'm not going to give you any...
Do you remember what the modifier is? I don't know. Where's my notes?
Samuel, negative.
So then, the injury is overwhelming. You choose if you are... I think at the end of maybe like once you... the last thing we saw, we're going to revise the ending of the last session, is that like as you saw Jenny there, you sort of walked up towards her, you look back, you saw that thing walking by, and then you look at her and kind of give her a bit of a half smile, and then completely collapse. Mm-hmm. So you are seriously, you can knock down with a serious wound.
All right.
And then Mike, I'm sorry, what are you, what is your level of injury right now? I think it's clear.
I'm trying to look at last session because I don't seem to have made notes. I've got success with complications to avoid harm right at the end of the session. With complications.
That's right. That was not to... that's not endure injury. I'm asking you to endure injury.
Okay.
So if you go to... failure as well. All right, so that means that you are likewise... suffering from a serious, if you go to page 2 here, so you can take away, let's see here. Let's just keep the head injury. We'll take away the other 2 injuries. Mm-hmm. Because what I fucked up last time, you should have had an opportunity to try and avoid that stuff.
Yeah, I remember you saying,
Yeah. So, Mike has got a bit of a goose egg that's beginning to develop on his head. Sam, you are now awake again, but you're still kind of feeling the after effect of the fight. I guess maybe in the midst of fighting with that, the guy with the knife, he might have tagged you. You just never felt it because you're adrenaline or whatever.
Yep.
So maybe for your injury, you can describe it as what, like, like a cut or something like that, or stab injury, laceration, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. So probably in my side, something that that I wouldn't necessarily see.
Yeah.
But it's got a blood stain over there.
Sure. So I think we open up in, having seen the aftermath of all this, the violence from the previous night, we now see, there are members of the Detroit Police Department who are here, kind of taking statements. There's a paramedic who's sort of treating your injury there, Sam. And Sam and Mike, you're sitting in the kitchen of Jenny. And we can hear her giving a summary statement to the officers of what happened and how these people came in.
So I'm getting stabilized. Is that how that would?
Yes.
I'm getting,
So both of your injuries will count as the head injury that Mike had from before, and your stab. Both of those are stabilized.
Okay.
Okay. So now, what are you guys thinking? Like, is there? I think this is probably the first time you guys have seen each other in quite some time.
Yeah, we probably have some catching up to do.
Yeah. And as far as things go, Mike actually looks not bad for all things considering. He's got a suit on, his old suit on. He's shaved.
Well, and I'm standing next to him, so.
Yeah. So you're sitting.
So the comparison is I'm making him look good right now.
So the paramedic finishes up, and she leaves. Leave you guys in the kitchen. I think Jenny's probably made coffee. So you guys have an opportunity to interact now, finally. Because Sam has been unconscious for most of the night.
Well, that was a bit of a night. Obviously, all those thousands of rounds I'd spent practicing paid off. Just like Baina said.
Good job, Mike. Good job.
Yeah.
I
would have obviously have called it into my office as well at some stage earlier on.
Yeah, it's not an FBI matter, though, so they wouldn't be involved yet. FBI has very specific jurisdiction, and...
well, shooting at an officer with automatic weapons, yeah, I mean, I assume they're going to...
But that doesn't... Just
do.
because it involves an FBI agent doesn't mean it's an FBI matter.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that, but he thinks... so have we given our statements yet?
We're assuming that's
anyway,
happened, So let's just... Hold on. Let's just resituate with what the game is about and how we sort of make our way through the game. We're focusing on the interesting stuff that's happening, right? The moves are the ways that you guys sort of affect the story, and you guys move the action in the story going forward. So the nitty-gritty stuff that we, like the simulation and stuff that you would have in other games is not really something we're concerned with in this one. So
okay, in that case, I'm going to say, well, how have you been, and what's been happening to you? I mean, trying to get hold of you.
It's weird. One thing, just as a reminder, too, you didn't expect to find Sam here, Mike. You came here because Jenny had called.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. And Sam
did
doesn't...
Jenny, I'll say, did Jenny call you as well? She called me in panic.
No, I just needed to see her. She and I know I'm tough to reach. But I worry about her. Obviously, me and her father were tight, and is unresolved. It's tough. I don't know, but I needed to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And oddly, that's when it all. I don't know. There's certainly questions to be answered. Jenny's there, Kevin?
Yeah, she's speaking to the Detroit police right now.
And
I will mention the package she dropped off for me in when she was a bit distressed the day before.
Oh, I think she mentioned
the morning
that.
before, wasn't it? It was in the morning. The package was dropped off, and then
what was in the package?
Gone missing.
Mike?
She didn't say. Unfortunately, one of the other agents took it away to be processed, and he didn't seem to have put it into the system properly. So I have queried that, but obviously, I think we need to look at that package. Maybe when Jenny's finished with the cops, we can ask her about what was in there.
she'd handed it to you? Had she opened it?
No, she just said it was important and that she needed to give it to me.
What she had said was that it arrived. Remember, it was addressed to, I believe it was addressed to Samuel.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, she had a package that had been addressed to you that she brought to me. So
what agent? What agent took it? What agent took it?
Valentino.
Valentino.
Does that ring any bells? Would that be an agent that you might know?
I think he was in our group, wasn't he, Kevin? We discussed Valentino.
Valentino's a contemporary of Sam and his Jess, or Sam and his partner, and he's one who now is sort of a special agent in charge of some department within the FBI.
Valentino. Box addressed to me. Valentino takes it. You said Jenny handed it to you, and yet Valentino takes it from you. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And now it's not logged. And Samuel shakes his head.
Yeah, well, I put in an audit request, or I don't know, what are the bureaucratic things saying? Yeah, something's got lost. Can we please find this?
And did you say you were attacked?
Well, when I arrived at Jenny's place, there was the goons, and some of them had gone inside, and then there was a gunfight outside with the, and then I'll point to the submachine gun that's presumably on the table with an evidence tag next to it, was used.
Well, I think what Sam was asking was the incident with your car.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I took Jenny's call, and then I was on the way here, and I got tail-ended and sort of shoved into a snowbank.
That is so. I'm not sure if you're trying to undersell it or if you don't remember, but it was a series of rams, and you were run off the road.
Oh yeah, so they deliberately rammed me. Yes, it was obviously not an accident. Yes, I'd forgotten that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had anything like that happen prior to that day that you were targeted?
No,
Mike?
Never in your life.
It's just been business as usual.
I mean, so you get this package from Jenny. Valentino takes it, doesn't log it, and you're personally targeted. I mean, and now we don't have the package.
Well, alternatively, maybe someone had jacked Jenny's phone and was tracking who she was calling. But yeah, it does seem a little suspicious.
More than a little.
I mean, she was quite publicly coming in the building and giving it to me, so if someone could have seen that and drawn a conclusion. But yeah, it is confusing. I think I need to ask Valentino what's
as
happened.
a refresher as well too. She didn't ask for you specifically, Mike. She was asking anybody to be able to get it to Samuel. You were the one sent up to just process it.
You're right, though. It could be something connected with her phone. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but that's awfully suspicious. I mean, personally targeting you, that's a steep acceleration right there. And you can hear, I mean, Samuel's kind of clicking into like agent speak even now, because it's triggering his, past life and his thinking about it like an agent would rather than the homeless person that he looks like. Well, how are you doing, Mike? You, I don't know. I dare say you look better than I do.
Well, I've probably got a raging headache or something. Presumably I just banged my head.
Yeah, he's got a bruise on his head.
Yeah, probably got strong coffee and some paracetamol. He's checking down. Yeah, I mean, I'd be really interested to find out what the local cops find out about the assailants, because there's several dead bodies, automatic weapons. This is not some guy with a gat or something.
Oh, no doubt. They were serious business. Yeah, hopefully you can help with that too.
Let me ask you this, Mike. While Sam was unconscious, it sounds like, because he's an eager beaver, would Mike be the type to want to be searching the bodies or things like that while they're waiting for the cops to show up?
Oh yeah, I think he would have. Well, he wants to try and recover that dropped magazine.
So let's. What I think I need
But yeah,
you to do.
he would check it, but obviously he's not going to break any.
Mo. When one of us are talking, please don't shout over us. Only one of us can talk at a time here. When what you could do is make an investigate roll, if you like. Mm-hmm. Because this will help. This will help give you some resources to then ask me some questions for what you might recover.
All right. So would my analyst advantage kick in here?
Let's see. What does it do?
Analyst reason. Hang on. Where's the PDF?
Analyst is which one under reason?
Yeah.
There you go. Analyst. When you investigate something, you may also choose from additional questions. Which organizations, groups, or peoples of interest may be connected to this? Is there a connection between this and another event, or what could a plausible motive be? That's on top of the ones that are on investigate. And Carl, we've got, you may have seen already, but there's two handouts that have a list of the moves, like the default moves, on them.
Okay, well, let's... any modifier or just straight?
No modifier. All right, success. So that means you have two questions. So in addition to those ones, if you want, I can reread those for you again, Mo. Your questions are, how can I find more information about what I'm investigating? What is my gut feeling about what I'm investigating? Is there anything weird about what I'm investigating? And then your analyst also gives you which organizations, groups, or people of interest may be connected to this. Is there a connection between this and another event? And what could a plausible motive be? So you have two questions.
From the analyst one, I'll take which group do I think this might be?
Sure. Okay. So, and you're doing a great job. What it is, this is the meta level of this too. You're not asking as the character, you're asking as the player, and then we reveal this through the what's happening in the fiction. So, what you find, I think, is as you're looking through, you make a point of noting, and you can see that on these guys have a couple, some tattoos that are hidden by their, clothing. It's wintertime, so and in Detroit, so it's certainly not going to be, they're not walking around in t-shirts. But if you search the right hand, what you find on the inside of the forearm on each of these guys, there is a tattoo of a black hand.
Okay, that's interesting. Not sure whether my character would know that, but might do. But so, what were the other questions we could do for the
other questions? So the three of them are on the move handout. I mean,
sorry.
Yes, you can do that. But then the other three ones, Mo, are which organizations, groups, or peoples of interest could they be connected to? Is there a connection between this and another event, or what could a plausible motive be?
Okay. Two questions.
So you have one more question.
I think I'm going for the how can I find out more? This tattoo.
Okay.
Sort of sparked my interest.
I think if you have the ability to call on contacts in other organizations, right? Don't you have network? Is one of your...
I think it's called Mole, but yes.
Mole, yeah. If you called on other organizations, there maybe there's some people in the FBI, maybe there's people in other things that may know more. In particular, something tells you that might be a way of trying to figure more. And maybe there's there may be a reason for why you don't want to continue trying to run this up the flagpole, as it were, within your own organization.
Yeah, well, I think so. This is still early, so he's going to make a mental note to call his friend in, maybe who deals with the gang situations. There is a organization that looks after gangs and other that sort of thing.
Okay.
He'll call his friend there and say, have you seen this sort of tattoo?
Well, we'll deal with that afterwards. Again, like the way we drive the story forward is you pick moves and we see the results of those things. Okay, so but that's a good way of framing that in the fiction. But this is stuff that you would have done beforehand. So you're sitting in the kitchen still, while Sam was still recovering from his injury, and when he passed out, you had discovered that as well too. Are you keeping that kind of to yourself, or are you letting Sam know?
Oh no, I think I'll tell Samuel. The mooks had like Black Hand tattooed on their. My phone's broken, so I haven't got to take a photograph. So I'll mention it to Samuel. They had like tattoos of a Black Hand.
Interesting. Yeah, they were certainly no ordinary street thugs.
And there's, from the ones that you can find here, there's no ID on them. There, or at least nothing that is credible. Everyone seems to have, the same wallet. All their ID seems obviously fake. So there's just no real link to who these people are. Maybe the firearms will trace back somewhere, or the rental vehicle may reveal something. But the immediate look at this is these are, assassins, really, who have been hired and showed up at her place. Anything else you guys wish to do in this scene before we transition?
I will. Samuel's going to ask Jenny whether she's experienced anything like this recently, like any kind of weird, not necessarily guys kicking in her door, but any kind of odd that she like. Oh, that's weird. That now in context it might mean something. Anything.
The package showed up. What she tells you is that Uncle Sam, that the only thing I've found was my that package showing up on the porch, addressed to you, and the those guys watching.
Yeah, maybe you'd mentioned that. You said some people on the street were watching.
Well, yeah, and she points to Mike. I called him. I saw them. I called them because I had no way of getting a hold of you. Did I?
Yeah. I need to fix that. I know.
JP is sort of like pushing his nose up against your leg as well.
Yeah, he's all over that. He gives JP a good scratch.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I need to fix that, Jenny. I know. I will. How long have they been out there, you think? Like how many days or?
Oh God, do you think they were watching for that long?
I have no idea. You think, when's the first time you noticed them?
Last night.
Okay. All right.
Mo, did you ever hand up as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, Charlie. You finished, or you get?
When you noticed them, Jenny, did you notice that there were 4 in the car?
I couldn't see how many there were. I couldn't see who they were.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were. It seemed like they were watching.
Yeah.
And
the package showed up before they arrived, the same time that you noticed them, or?
The package showed up 3 days ago now.
Okay. And do you think it was delivered by the postal service or someone dropped it off?
I don't know. It was left on my doorstep, or the doorstep.
Was it like labeled like it went through the postal service, or did it just have my name?
Like a book, no, it didn't look like it went. No postal markings or anything like that, or courier markings. It was butcher paper tied up in twine with your name on it. And
it sounds like you didn't open it. Is that right?
No.
Yep.
I tried calling the FBI, but I couldn't get through, and they didn't seem to know where you were. And then I went down, and Mike said he would take care of it.
Yep. Okay. Very good. You okay, Jenny?
I'll be all right.
Okay. Good.
Okay, and then Mo, go ahead.
What Mike would have done would he have tried to call Amber on the landline and just say he's okay. So I think he did tell her, but he'd been in a car accident.
Jenny's in her 20s as well, too. The likelihood of her having a landline is quite remote, but she would give you her cell, though, to make use of.
We'll do that.
There's no answer with Amber.
All right, so this is like 3 or 4 in the morning, I assume we're doing this. So,
no, this is
okay, maybe.
When you tried, there was no answer. This has been a series of attempts to try and get a hold of her. You can assume you tried a couple times and just couldn't get a hold of her. It rings and rings and rings and goes to voice message. This is as you guys are departing in the morning. This is now 7-8 o'clock in the morning. You try once again with her cell. Nobody. No one's answering.
Well, I think at some stage today, Mike wants to go over to her place, or probably actually call her at work when it's work time.
Okay. It sounds like we're leaving this scene right now. So, at present, you haven't got a hold of her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we will cut then to Joey.
Joey's here.
Let's see if you let's have this scene open with that same one small shop with a weird gaudy kind of like fortune teller stuff in the window. There's neon lights that are there. It's got Cyrillic lettering on some of the signs that are in there. This is the only store that is open on a block's worth of businesses. There's a vacant lot from a burned down or collapsed building, or demolished at least building across the way. Snow is falling down, and we see Joey making his way up towards Madame Yozoveski's parlor. Why do you think he's coming there?
Well, he wants to know if he wants to get a vibe from Madame Yozoveski if the Lions are going to continue to be winless this year.
Okay. So you're
so
walking.
he can tell all his people. Was it today, or is it like, or when is it? What is the day of the week, and is it like contemporary? I guess that's what I.
Yeah, it's contemporary. Yep.
Yeah, so he's probably like looking on ESPN or whatever equivalent, and like the updates, and he probably does have like all the bells and whistles because he needs to keep tapping on. He's probably watching Detroit being shut out by the Browns again and shaking his head. So he wants to complain to somebody that they're
maybe Joey's got like both his both headphones in, or as it were, like earbuds kind of things.
Yeah,
he's sitting down, and like again, the lobby area for Madame Yozoveski's place is full.
He's wearing a jumpsuit. Lions suck, so he's wearing a Pistons, Detroit Pistons jacket.
So he is sitting in a room full of, like I said, a very diverse group of people. There's clearly like a bunch of Madame Yozoveski's family works here as well. And then maybe like in the silence of it, there's some, Eastern European music playing sort of over the speakers or whatnot. The door to her thing is closed. The seats are filled with young, old, all sorts of different ethnicities, people. Mm-hmm. But then we hear Joey kind of, shut up. Oh, come on! Then everyone kind of looks over, and we see that he's actually been.
I probably ask him. Do you think that the Lions are going to be winless this year?
The person who you're sitting next to, who you ask, they just shake their head and go back to whatever it is they were reading or doing or something.
I mean, a tie is not a win. We're still 0-8.
Okay. So why? Then let's. What do you call it? The door opens up, and you can hear Madame Yozoveski. She leads someone else out. This person she's leading out, I think, is a couple. Young couple that appear to be quite happy with whatever information she just told them. And she's like, yes, good. Just pay. We take credit card, we take check, we take, in your case, no check, but we do take cash. So please, go ahead. And she looks over and sees you, Joseph.
Joey, I take cash too. He tells a couple. I got a good deal for you.
Yeah, she looks and just gestures to them to go and pay and says, "Inside, Joseph."
Yeah, I know it's not my shop.
Okay, so you are led into the room. The door shuts. Now, again, in these ones, you guys are the ones who can instigate the moves for most often, but because we're all sort of getting used to this, I'm going to suggest that you give us a read a person move.
Okay.
I think something might be a little off about Madame Yoseveski.
Yeah, I never trust my intuition, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Failure.
So I'm like, if she's called me here for something, or I'm in an appointment for something, I'm totally clueless. I'm thinking it's all about very mundane things.
Okay.
So well, forget the lions. What about the pistons? How are they going to do? How are they going to do, madam?
So what the result says is you accidentally reveal your own intentions to the person you're trying to read. Tell us what your intentions are here.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get, I want her to tell me the prediction for the NBA Piston season. It's very banal and very mundane.
May I
want to
make
make a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money.
Oh, hold on, Carl. Hold on. May I make a suggestion here?
Yeah.
So I think she never gives you this stuff. Like, that's just not how her stuff goes, right? So there's a couple things that I think we can infer from this is, for one, if you are approaching her and trying to get this information, you're probably in a spot. Does that sound right? Because if you're...
Yeah, probably. Maybe I'll say, I think I saw them. I think I saw them over my shoulder.
Well, and maybe you're just, you're... what I mean by that is, I think that you're feeling pretty fucking desperate, like you need a win.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Because
if you've known her for a long time.
I had to move again recently. I got a constant.
Yeah, exactly. You're sort of like, I need this.
Like I gotta pay first and last month. I had to move again, madam. I need it. I need a win.
Yeah. Well, and I think you may, if you're the bookie as well too, you may have set the odds on that game way out of what the actual feeling is.
Yeah, that they were supposed to lose and they fucking tied.
Yeah. So you're just like, oh god, this is gonna roll over, and you had a bunch of people rolled over the bets into the next thing. That makes sense for why you would try and impose on that relationship. Mm-hmm. And I get to make a move now too. Oh,
maybe. So do we feel like Aunt Maria and Madame Yoveski know each other?
I think. From the neighborhood for sure. Yeah.
So he probably, Aunt Maria she makes like a good bread, so he brings that to Madame Yoveski. Oh yeah. Aunt Maria says hi.
And you sort of throw it down, and and the other suggestion I was going to have is maybe the way that you've tried to approach this, because that she won't tell you whether the Lions or things will win.
Yeah, she doesn't care about that.
Maybe like the way that you do this is you try and ask her, like, so I need to know, am I gonna feel really good about the outcome of, say, Thursday night? Am I gonna be happy on Thursday night, or am I gonna be, or should I really prepare myself for a bad situation on Thursday night, just in general, Okay, so maybe because that would be a way of you, like, she won't answer it the other way, but you're just clumsily trying to get that information out of her.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So she looks at you. I'm just looking at my list of moves here.
I mean, I could try to charm my way, into that kind of information, but
you can't.
I don't think I want to do a move.
No, and I think that and there are some things like I don't think she'll ever give you that information.
Nah, she won't.
And whether that's because she can't.
It's a game,
Well, even like I guess I think it's again like it because we got a failure on this. I think that you're in you're in a bad spot here, and the only reason that you're that you're trying to get this info from her is because you can't get a good read on it, and Yeah, but
maybe there's something else, Madame Yoveski. Maybe I know I push too much. Maria tells me all the time. I take advantage.
Yeah. So, do you think? I think what maybe Madame Yoveski has done is you sat down with her and you've just talked and whatnot too, and it's kind of, and she's just been sitting there and waiting.
Okay, he finally like gives up, throws up his hands. You're never gonna tell me. Maybe I just follow your bet.
She puts her hands up. She says, your gift speaks to you, Joey. Ooh. Now, what's this trouble you've got yourself into now?
Well, it's the same trouble, madam. I always, I just gotta. I look over my shoulder all the time. I see it's those people who threw me on the track and left me for dead. They're still after me. I gotta keep moving. I know Aunt Maria is always upset about it. I try to let her know where I'm going. Maybe I know I sometimes use you, but to tell her where I'm going. But I had to move again.
Joey,
I just had to.
When was the last time you slept?
Oh, yeah. I can't sleep, because I got to think. About the next bet.
So is he there's in the middle of this room there is a it's the classic like fortune teller table with a kind of embroidered tablecloth across it. Yeah, exactly. There's knickknacks and stuff all across the wall. I'm picturing that like Joey has sat for maybe like 10%, 20% of the conversation. Otherwise, he keeps getting up and moving around.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're up and moving around, and what she says.
Why she puts up with him, he does not know. But she's meaningful to him. Yeah.
Well, I think that she knows, like her gift has changed. I don't know if you know one way or the other. For myself, I would imagine like the gift that you have is similar to what she has, and she knows that there's a lot more of a burden that comes with that than a gift. So seeing a little kid who had that kind of talent, you'd immediately think, oh, that's cool, but also like, oh, that poor fucking kid.
It is in his mind, it's failed him, right? Because he got,
Yeah.
But then he denies the fact that probably that he didn't listen to his intuition, but he should have listened to his intuition. So that's what maybe scares him too, right?
Yeah, and I think she says Joey, I think things are about to get bad for you.
Again, he stops.
Yes,
probably looks at I hate this monkey, I hate this monkey.
Yeah, there's this like thing. And she looks up. Why'd you stop in front of that?
I don't know. Monkey's paw. Monkey's flat on my butt. I don't.
Joey.
It's angry. Maybe I'm a little mad. Bread's good, by the way. This batch is really good.
Please thank Maria. I can't give you the answer you need, Joey, but there is a way to get it if you need it, but it will come at a cost.
I'm good for it, right? Because he's thinking money.
Yeah. She nods and says, then you like cards, right, Joey?
Yeah, that's my first con. Well,
so,
I'm legit now. Well, at least in Canada and the UK, but I'm legit. That's online stuff.
Joey, come and sit down. So she gets you to come and have a seat. She walks over to, like a kind of an upright dresser thing that's got a bunch of, drawers in it of different sizes. It's the kind of thing that would be like a Victorian, woman's wardrobe maybe, where there's all little places to keep all different sizes of things. She opens one up and then pulls out this deck of antique playing cards. sits down, sits across from you at the table, and then, you know, it's the kind of, and the table is set up in such a way that it looks bigger than when you sit down at it. When you sit down at it, it really feels like you can be almost, you know, you're almost able to easily reach across and touch the other person, but spacious enough to fit people comfortably around it. Mm-hmm. She sits down and, you know, like, in spite of her age, like an expert blackjack dealer, you know, from Vegas or Atlantic City, starts shuffling this deck of cards back and forth, and then sort of fans it out in front of you.
Hi, I knew you worked the city. I knew you worked the boardwalk.
Joey.
Joey doesn't shut up. I can't.
She walks over and then dims the lights down a bit. Close your eyes, Joey.
All right, he takes a deep breath and closes his eyes.
And Joey, reach out. And she kind of grabs your hand as it's sort of fumbling out, slows it down, brings it over the cards. Just concentrate, Joey. And what I'd like you to do, Carls, why don't you give us a see through the illusion move?
Okay.
So this will be a soul move. Okay.
That makes sense. I like when the dice kind of follow the narrative.
Mm-hmm. So what you reach out and you're going along, and the idea there's sort of a feeling in your mind where you've got, like, you know, if you draw a certain color, it'll give you the answer to what you need. But you can feel, as she said, almost like there's a debt that will be paid. You know that drawing this answer is going to cost you. But you know, losing, like, you're already in hiding from a bunch of people as it is. If you don't get this answer, man, oh man, like, you're going to have a lot of people looking for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Did
I draw the card?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you draw the card.
He probably said something like double or nothing.
Okay, yeah. And then
you cliche.
Reach down, you pull out a card. It's a joker.
Well, that would make him laugh. Black or red?
So he lets whatever color that you need to get your answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Black, because he wants to be in the black, right? So.
Sure. So that tells you whatever team it is that it needs to be. That gives you your answer for this, and you kind of like laugh. You know, that makes sense. And you look over, and Madam Yoseveski has a look of grave worry on her face, and she just fans the cards again like a pro. You know, closes the fan of cards before her. It says, "I trust you have your answer, Joey."
It's never he said it's never a straight one, but it's fine.
Okay. So with that, she
two
takes
for
the card.
one, by the way. 2 for 1. Two bets for 1. Two bets for the price of one.
She's
I'll run the special just for you, madam.
picking you up and leading you out. The door opens and leads you out, and that's where we'll leave our first scene with Joey. Unless you have anything else you want to do, Carl?
Nah, that's probably good.
Okay, so let's do this.
Okay.
Because of the complication, I need you to give us a 2d10 roll for your stalker.
8.
Oh my. The enemies have caught up with you. I take 3 hold. Uh-oh. I may spend to make a move for your pursuers. For example, trusted associate's been paid off by them. One of your loved ones disappears. Mm-hmm. Okay. So for my 3 hold. So I think maybe where we'll leave Joey, I'll spend 1 hold right away. I got a lot of stuff I can do with this now. Joey walks out, and how's he feeling? He must be feeling a little, a little better now that he's, got the answer he needs.
Yeah. He's gonna go. He's either gonna go. He's probably gonna on his way to Darnold's place, because Darnold probably has like a place.
Okay.
Like, Joey has to jump from place to place, so it's online through his various Twitter handles or Facebook or whatever.
So
he's gonna go to Darnold's. Maybe he's got a.
Well, that's all I need to know. Actually, that's enough,
Okay.
Carl. So you step out, you zip up, and you're like, all right, and you're about to head off to Darnold's, and then you see someone kind of pass by, and then the window rolls down like, hey, it's Joey. Joey, don't you move, you son of a bitch. I'll be right back for you. And their car is now turning around the street. You sort of...
he's gonna run, I think.
Okay, so we see Joey turn and race off between the buildings. Mm-hmm. We will turn now our spotlight to someone else. Where do you think we're going next here, guys? Sam and Mike, where do you see your characters going after you leave Jenny's place? And I guess, Sam, Jenny would be happy with you. She's offered to put you up for a while, if you want.
Both takes him by surprise, and he probably can't say no.
Okay.
He's like, oh, no, I couldn't do that. Can I sleep over there?
Yeah.
And he's scratching JP the whole time. He's giving JP the business. And then looks with a big grin at Mike. Happy. He's happy now. Like that. That's what it took. Like he's.
Okay. So what about Mike? Where would he be heading? It sounds like Sam's next scene is going to happen somewhere at Jenny's place. What's Mike intending on doing?
He's obviously got to go back to the office, and there's a shed load of paperwork to fill out. And also, he wants to find out what's happening to this package.
Okay. He doesn't care about his girlfriend anymore?
Well, it's now 5 or 6 in the morning.
No, Mo, we've said it's morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning. Lights come in. The cops were there. You didn't get a hold of Jenny all night. You didn't get a hold of her in the morning. Or not Jenny, you get a hold of Amber.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell you what, you don't have to, you can do whatever you like with your character. Just if, like, from what you said, that was what your concern was before. What is Mike interested in doing next? What's the next scene we want to see with him?
He's probably going to be contacting the district attorney's office to see if she's turned up for work.
Okay.
Whether he'd go back to the office and do it from there, or
Okay. So, Mike, you realize also you have not slept, and you've got concussion as well too. Are you heading directly to the office, or are you stopping off at home first?
No, he's going to go directly to the office.
Okay. So you show up at work. You make your way down to your workstation, and you call into Jenny's office. No one's seen or heard from her.
Okay. I'll try our home address again.
Same thing. No answer. I mean, she doesn't have a home phone, but I mean, her cell keeps no answer.
Okay, I think he's going to have to go and he's going to go and check on her. He'll just tell Andy, his boss. He's going to say he's a bit worried, so he's going to go and see if she's okay.
Andy's going to insist you take a couple of days off. You were just in a major car crash, then you were in a firefight, and now you're trying to show up at work. You need to take some time off. Whatever you've been working on, we can take care of. And he sort of puts his hand on your shoulder and like, it's not a request.
Okay, I'll do that then, and I'll. I assume my car's been picked up to be fixed. And he's just going to get a cab over.
Okay.
To wherever she lives.
Sure.
Somewhere quite posh, I would imagine.
So once again, you get dropped off, and this is a condo she lives in downtown Detroit. It's one of those places that is expensive, but really kind of soulless.
Does it have a doorman?
Probably a security guard, but not a proper doorman.
Okay, well,
she is a government employee, so she's not,
I'm just going on sitcoms like from Rhoda, where there's the doorman and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ring the buzzer and
Still no answer.
I'll go up and chat to the security guard and say,
So let's then go ahead and it sounds like you are investigating.
and I will actually, explain that I'm an FBI agent. I'm a little worried about.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not giving you any modifier for the roll for that. That's already baked into your character sheet. But investigate, please. Yeah.
Ew.
Okay. So you get some information, but you pay a price for it. You may expose yourself to danger. So you ask the security guard about this. The security guard seems to... he seems to have no recollection. He doesn't say that he saw her come in. He's been on shift since they sort of like switch over at a certain point during the morning, so he would have been here overnight. But you get the sense that he may have just not been paying attention either. It's not like there's this is just some dude who's paid minimum wage to keep an eye on the door, right?
Yeah. Question is, do you think we'd have keys to each other's apartments at this point?
You tell me.
I mean, it's a fairly serious relationship. I mean, they're not, they've still got their own places. So, yeah. I think they probably would have.
Sure.
When we stay over, so... Yeah, okay.
So you head up to the apartment, and what do you call it? You get up, take the floor up. It's probably, let's say, like maybe 5th or 6th story. You get up to her apartment or to her condo. You walk out. You pass, a lady with a kind of yappy little dog that's getting into the elevator. Pass by her. It's one of the neighbors, so she sort of, nods at you. You make your way down to hers. The hallway is one of these, like, dark colors, dark trim, light walls, kind of, designed by kind of corporate input types. You get up. You use your key to get into her apartment, and the door closes behind. Now, you've been here a lot of times before. Do you think Amber is a tidy housekeeper, or is she, like some professionals where it's a bit of a mess and then it just waits for when the cleaning service arrives? That's when it gets tidy.
I think she's probably quite neat. I don't know if you've seen the... I can't remember the Fringe. I think one of the characters' wardrobes is just all her sort of like suits in a row. So she's probably very organised. She's got like wardrobe for work stuff.
Okay. So then, the place is looking fairly pristine, but it feels very empty without her here. I imagine you're not here a lot without her. You look around and there's no sign that she's been here. The bed, if she's that organized, the bed is still made. It has not been slept in.
I'll try ringing the phone just to see if the phone's in the building.
How are you doing that? There's no landline. Of course. You have no cell.
Okay, that's a little worrying. In that case, he's going to go down to the outside. Are payphones still functional in America?
Not really. Certainly not in Detroit. So you're making your way towards the door, and you're kind of like, this is worrying, and you can hear, as you're approaching the door, the sound of something is sort of scratching at the door or the lock.
Is this leaving her apartment?
This is you walking up towards the door leading out of her apartment. You have not left the apartment yet. Something is outside of the door, making sounds on the door.
Is there a keyhole? I'll have a look outside, or
there's going to be like a little peephole.
Yeah.
So you look in the peephole, and there are 3 men who look very much like what you encountered last night, who are standing there. 2 who are looking one way, and then one looking the other way down the hallway. One that seems to have his head down, and you can hear the sound of what sounds like someone trying to work with a key.
I'll quietly step back, pulling out my handgun.
Okay. So that's all you're doing?
So like this, what's the so he's going to effectively try and take cover. Is there sort of can he go around the corner from where the door into the apartment is?
He could. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that and wait to see what happens.
Okay. So you wait. There's more sort of rattling with the what do you call it, with the lock, and then you hear the clicking of the lock catching. Door's unlocked, and then the door opens up, and the three of them are starting to walk in. Now, have you hidden yourself, or have you just taken cover and drawn a gun?
Effectively, I'm behind a wall or something with the gun, sort of like.
So it doesn't answer my question. Are you hidden, or are you just taking cover?
I've taken cover and I've got the gun out, and
Okay.
I'm probably going to call out FBI. State your business.
Okay. So you shout that out. What the response is, you can see two of them already have guns out. There are two of them who are going to shoot at you immediately. So, what I need you to do is
Get
to
the submachine gun.
avoid harm here, please. And remember, you are suffering your wound is treated right now, so you won't have the penalty from that.
I thought you still. I think I still had the headache.
You do have the headache, but it's been treated.
Oh, it's been treated. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Yes.
Okay.
We did note it in the other. Sorry.
That's
avoid
okay.
harm.
So go ahead and give us an avoid harm. So they begin. Two of them begin opening fire on you. Nice. So you manage to throw yourself behind the, or maybe their shots go wild as you sort of, because you've made a good enough job of giving yourself a small enough profile for them to hit. The thing you've hidden yourself behind, like the wall, is being blown apart by these gunshots. What do you want to do?
Well, I think he's just going to have to return the return.
There are
return
three
fire,
of them, and one of them has not revealed what it has for a gun, just so you're able to play the numbers here.
Yeah, you said this is a fairly modern condo, so it doesn't have the traditional fire escape in.
It would not have a fire escape. It would have a balcony.
I think he's effectively going to try and retreat through the balcony and then try and can he get from one balcony to another to try and
That is an excellent. That sounds like acting under pressure to me. Okay.
This is coolness, and actually because he's got burglar, would that help?
Well, so a lot of these things, what they do is they give you
extra
specific
options,
abilities. Yeah,
don't
like just, and I'm not trying to be cheeky here, but like if they do, it might be more helpful to look up what the ability does and then ask if it applies, as opposed to just randomly throwing. Because there's only a couple of abilities that you've got, and because some of them give you specific moves.
Yeah.
I thought burglar was one of those. Yeah, when you make use of your expertise in breaking and entering, you roll coolness, and then there are three options here. And the three options the options you can draw, or you get a certain number of options. The options you can draw from are: you silently open a locked door, you neutralize an alarm, you bust a lockbox, you avoid being discovered by someone, you trick someone into believing you belong here. But so, having looked that up now, might I make a suggestion, Mo? Instead of making the run for that, maybe there is a way of trying to avoid discovery. Remember, like, part of the game is discovering what's happening by seeing the results of your moves. There may very well be here, like, you know, a duct system, or like a ceiling that you can maybe make your way up into. You know, especially if it's a cheaply made condo, perhaps there's a false ceiling that you can actually get up through and then get into the ceiling above the hallway. You know, so the only way we'll discover that is through making your move. So you can act under pressure, try and get yourself to the window and try and get yourself out, or you could maybe take advantage of this and try and avoid being discovered.
I think trying to avoid being discovered.
Okay. So then burglar is a coolness check. Go ahead and give us a coolness check. All right, so you get one. You do get one option, but a problem arises. So, I think maybe what happens is you scramble, in a low kind of crouch to the deeper into the apartment or the condo. You hit against the one of the walls in one of the in the hallway that leads back to kind of her bedroom and where the washroom is, and you can see there's the ceiling tiles on the ceiling. So maybe you can get up into there. And you scramble in and, in spite of your concussion, scramble up and then up into the ceiling thing and put it down. And there's enough beams on top of there to support your weight. You just need to be cautious about where you're going. Does that sound about right? Yeah, okay. So then the move... Oh, so here's the one move that the GM can do is harm for harm. So you get up there and, maybe the light that you look through, there is a firewall up between the apartment and the condo. So the harm for harm is you can break through this. It's not really a harm for harm, but you can break through this, but they're going to know you're here. Right now you are undiscovered. And perhaps you'll remain undiscovered, but in order for you to get through, you're not sure you're going to get through before they realize sort of where you are and maybe take shots at you. So what do you think? You could try and do something different, and instead, like act under pressure would be to try and sneak elsewhere into the apartment, maybe? What do you think?
So I can get through to the next apartment or to the hallway?
I think to the hallway, probably. Or maybe the next apartment. I'm fine with either. But it just means you need to physically break through a wall in order to get there, which means they will know that you're there, and there's a chance they may, fire up into the ceiling.
Well, they know I'm in the apartment, know someone's in the apartment.
Yeah, and you can hear them. They've already made their way around. They're asking around, and it's in a language you don't understand. Definitely Eastern European. They're asking around, trying to figure out where you've gone. It sounds like they're fanning out, and they are trying to find you. What are you doing?
I think I'm going to stay quiet until they move out, and maybe see if there's a better time to try and break through.
The result of our roll tells us that's probably not an option. You may have left there may be some other way they're going to discover you.
Okay, he's going to go for it and try and get through to the
Okay, so you start hitting it, and they all start shouting. Would you give us another avoid harm check? I'm going to give you a +1 to this because it's a difficult angle for them to kind of make their way through. We see you starting to break your way through. Ooh, with complications. Interesting. Okay, so what happens is you smash your way against into the wall. In the film version of this, we would have seen them all looking at each other, trying to figure out where that noise is coming from. They all sort of run over to where the washroom is, and they're looking around trying to figure out where this noise is. You've broken your elbow through, and you're trying to pushing your way through the wall, and trying to push yourself in. They look up and then start firing up at you, and you sort of throw yourself against the opening in the wall. You tumble through, and I'd like you to give us an endure injury check. Let's see if you injure yourself in the fall. No modifiers here. Oh, and the harm on this one would be just a 1, so -1 for endure injury. which is just the same thing. Okay, so one of the moves I can do, a GM picks one of the conditions. The injury throws you off balance, you lose something, or you receive a serious wound. I think as you push yourself through, you tumble backwards and like, whoa, boom, boom, kind of hit down. And you look up and there's like a bubble that goes up because you've just fallen off of a very big aquarium, and you see your gun nicely nestling down in the bottom of it. What do you do? So
I see what you mean.
As you've fallen out, you've managed to somehow drop. When you hit, you dropped it, and it's fallen into this aquarium.
Yeah, so they've got one on the side. Okay.
You can hear shouting up from the hole that you've broken your way through. I don't think there's anyone in this apartment though, because of time of day.
All right. In that case, I'm going to grab the try and grab the gun and get out of the apartment.
You grab it. It's soaked. It may interfere with the operation, and then let's see here. This is once again you trying to be sneaky. It sounds like, right? Mm-hmm. So give us another coolness check again. So I guess it's what is it? Act under pressure. But we're going to apply it to your burglary ability. Apart from your pride, you haven't suffered any other. Oh shit. So you're going to get out, but there is one problem. I think you're not going to know what the problem is yet. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bank that for now. So you go out to the front. You sort of open the door to that apartment building. As you're making your way through to, you spare a look over and you see a picture of that same old lady and her dog sitting on or hanging on the wall as you're leaving. It's no doubt her apartment. You throw the door open. You can see the open window or the open door for Amber's apartment down the hall. What are you doing?
I'm going to leave. I'm going to trigger the fire alarm as I go, just to
sure
get everyone out.
Absolutely. So you hit the fire alarm and maybe grab the stairs, and
yeah,
you're able to escape. So we see you. We hear the sound of approaching fire trucks as you walk out into the Detroit cold. The security guard is not at his desk because he's, out there waiting to flag down the fire department. What do we see as you sort of stumble out and then decide to what you're going to, whatever you're going to do next? Do you just walk off, or?
He's going to, he's not going to run off. He's just going to walk quietly off normally, and then try and find a, so it's early morning. Can you find a coffee shop?
Probably, yeah. In this neighborhood, yeah. Okay, so you turn and start walking away as people are coming out of the building and as the fire department is arriving. And then as you've disappeared, we see those three men kind of walk out as well too, all in the dark colors, all with very serious, muscle-bound kind of looks, or muscle-bound kind of impressions. They all walk out, look back and forth, and then sort of disappear into the growing throng of people who have left the apartment. Sam, let's maybe cut to you. Where do we think we find Sam right now?
I had a prelude to a scene I had in mind, or we can skip the prelude or not, but it's basically to talk to Jenny about a request. So he says so I picture them I think Samuel is trying to cut down on his caffeine for some bizarre who cares reason kind of thing, and so he's drinking hot cocoa. Yep. and he's with Jenny, and he's petting JP, and he says, so yep. Jenny, do you have to go to work? Are you what is your and he just looks at her.
I've called in. I mean, after last night, they understand, and I won't be going in today. But no, I've got I'm yours for as long as you need me, Uncle Sam.
Well, I have a request. It's a little unusual. I want us to go see someone. Don't be slow to judge now. It's a little odd, but I think once you get past her facade, I think you'll like her.
She's looking puzzled. Like, who are you talking about?
It's someone I've come to know that people underestimate, and I think she can help me. She might even be able to help us, and I think it's time you met her.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
But yeah.
Okay, so am I correct in thinking that she's driving you off to
Madam?
Okay, so you talked it over, and she's like, "Of course, I'll take you wherever we want to go." And we then cut to Joey. You are. Where do we think we can find you? It seems like you've escaped those your pursuers for now. Oh, you're muted, Carl. Oh, you're still muted, Carl. I'm not sure what happened there.
I hit it twice, I guess.
Okay. Now I'm super muted.
Very muted. No, so I guess if he got away, that's great. He's gonna have to backtrack his way through the alley. He still wants to go because I guess.
Well, we're not picking up. So we're not picking up necessarily immediately afterwards. We're just gonna pick like the next scene. Think of it like in a cinematic kind of thing.
So he kind of. It took him a while, but he finally gets to Darnold.
Okay. Is there something you wanted to have happen at Darnold?
No, well, I guess he's gonna say he asked Darnold, "Are you the Black Joker?"
So remember, you knew the answer to that. I
think the answer is yes. But...
Well, no. The answer to whatever you're looking for, when you were looking for the answer to the Bengals or the Tigers or whatever it was that you were trying to get the answer to, that's the answer you got that came at a cost.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So he puts his leftover money on the spread for the game with Darnold because he can't look at yourself.
Sure.
He offers Darnold a 2-for-1 special.
Yeah. Where do you think Darnold? Where do you think you guys meet up? It's like a restaurant or like just a greasy pizza
Darnold
place.
Has his own. I guess his sports book is illegal in the U.S., right? So
yeah.
What would the front be for that?
It could just be that you guys wander around. So you guys maybe meet up at a
park,
pizza by the slice kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
So you guys are sitting at this greasy place, the pizza sitting in front of you, and Darnold is just kind of confirming the amounts. He's like, "You sure about this?" Joey, I've heard.
Well, I had to move again. Just the maintenance at that place was off. He always makes he never tells Darnold what's really going on, but he Darnold may or may not know, but he always says oh, it's a maintenance man, or there are rats in the walls, or too many cockroaches, type of thing. It's always like an excuse to leave, but not the real reason.
Okay.
But he does keep looking over his shoulder.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like I should go back to Madam. Sorry, to my friend. I mean, my aunt's friend's place again. I think I left something there.
Okay.
But you're welcome to come.
And he looks at you like you're crazy. Like what the fuck would I want to go there?
And she might give you some tips.
You sure about this, Joey?
It's probably best to keep the two worlds separate. I agree.
So you guys talk, and then talk kind of transitions to the normal stuff that you and Darnold sort of bullshit about. Sports stuff, I'm guessing, like sports betting and whatnot.
How great the Pistons were in the late 80s.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So.
And there's a guy who's operating the pizza kitchen in the back there who just sort of shouts out, you guys don't know nothing. This is clearly a place you guys have been before, too, and they think that you're...
you must be a Grant Hill fan.
Yeah.
instead of Isaiah Thomas or something.
Okay. So you guys are kind of
This is my
bullshitting.
excuse to talk about sports, Kevin.
Yeah, and I will have nothing to contribute towards this. So, Am I correct in thinking that Joey at this point, he feels like this is a safe place for it? Like this is where he's, all right, I'm comfortable. I got a safe bet. I feel good about this bet. Mm-hmm. Things are going to be okay. And you can feel does your phone? Joey does strike me as the obnoxious type to have the phone turned on all the time, so we hear.
Oh yeah, it's got some sort of annoying jingle. Like, so this phone is mine.
What is the sound that we hear when a text message comes in?
It's like a cheer, like a crowd cheer.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah! So you pick it up. It's from an unknown number.
Yeah.
And what it says is, "Hey Joey, want to know your fortune?"
I put sure ...
Okay. So then you see, like, for a few moments, there's like the little dots going across the bottom when someone's writing a message. Mm-hmm. I'm spending 2 hold.
Oh, you got 3 holds. That's right.
You see a photo of Madame Yovesky. It's at her table, and you can see that there is someone standing next to her who is prominently displaying like a little sidearm. Can't see the face, but you can see the gun, and you can see her, and the look on her face is... she's not a blushing violet by any means, too, but her hair's a little mussed up. Like, it looks like she may have been manhandled a little bit.
All right, so he looks at Darn and goes, "Fuck, I gotta go, man. I'll catch up with you later."
Okay. So
he's gonna head over there. Is there does he know a back way in or something like that, or a window? There's no window in her room, right?
We'll see. That's an interesting question. So Joey, races out of the pizza place. And starts...
he's not a violent man, but it's now he probably feels guilty. He feels guilty because he ran away from that, coming out of that place. Okay.
Well, and one of the things, so you guys...
His drive is to stop bad shit from happening to people, so...
And there is, so you can actually, it can affect your stability. Your character stability can be affected when you're...
That's great. I love that.
Okay. So, Sam, it's it's wintertime, so the days are very short here. Sam, you're pulling up to Madame Yosevesky's place. You can see there's the sign out front that is normally blazing like day, night, whatever else is actually off. So Jenny looks at it and she's like, "Uncle Sam, are you sure this place is open? Or is this one of the back alley things?"
Samuel was looking at her sheepishly because, the look of the place, he knows he's getting ready to be embarrassed. And then he turns his head and he says, it's never, she's always open, really. And he looks at her with concern and says, why don't you just stay in the car for a minute? Let me go see if it's open. And he doesn't really think it's closed. He thinks something's off, but he doesn't want Jenny with him. He wants to, out of concern for her.
So Joey's right. There is a back way in here. There is another way of getting in, and given Sam's sort of familiarity with, this place, I imagine that he could, he'd be aware of that as well.
Mm-hmm. Jenny, I'll be a minute. I know her well, so I may have a look in and make sure she's okay. But just stay in the car with the doors locked until I get back.
Uncle Sam, is something? Should we call the police?
I'm not sure yet. I'm just going to take a look. She's usually open, but maybe I'm overreacting. I'm just gonna look in the windows and see what I see.
Okay. So she lets you out of her car. You step out into the cold.
I wait until her doors are locked. I kind of give that, Yeah. Have you locked them?
Yeah.
Right.
She locks them. Okay.
And then I start up towards the I'm being cautious, and I start up towards the entrance, kind of keeping my eye out, looking around cautiously.
Why don't you give us an observe a situation move?
All right. We're pretty cold today. It's a pretty.
It's favoring the DM today, I tell you.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So you get to ask one question, but you get no bonus for it, and you may miss something or attract unwanted attention or expose yourself to danger because I get to take a move. So the questions are, what's my best way through this? What currently poses the biggest threat? What can I use to my advantage? What should I be on the lookout for? What's being hidden from me? What seems strange about this? And I won't read these out every time, just for like, as we're getting sort of used to this.
Yeah, we can look at them too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I will go with what currently poses the biggest threat.
Okay, so you start making your way towards there, and as you're walking along, you can see there's a street lamp that's sort of, or a street light that is still actually lit outside of her place, illuminating the area. You start walking up towards the building, and you realize you'll be completely exposed. In order to get to the front door, you're going to have to be walking through the most exposed area out here. And as is always the case in Kult, it's overcast at night, so it's quite dark. It says it in the rules, guys. I just go by what, Yeah.
Right. You just work here.
Yeah, I just work here, man.
Well, I mean, you did pick like Detroit, Michigan, which is probably especially during the winter. There's not a lot, that whole Great Lakes area.
Right.
Yeah. So what you would you should be on the lookout for is that you're going to be anyone who is inside this place. Remember, it's like 2 or 3 story like little building, right? Anyone inside this, probably a 2-story. Anyone inside here is going to see you, or observing this place is going to see you as you approach the front door.
He's going to look for a way. He stops outside the halo, and he's going to look for a way around back.
Yep. So I think you do that. You sort of make your way around to the back. It's quite dark back there because it sort of is between one building and another. And let's do this. Joey, would you give us an observe a situation?
Okay.
Check here, please.
This should be fun for you.
Yeah. So once again, you can ask me one of those questions. Joey, you've actually, we're going to reveal you in a more dramatic manner here in a second, but you get to ask me one of those questions as well before you approach. You've arrived at this place. There's that back door in there. It's dark. I'm assuming you've, cased the joint, as it were, beforehand. You saw the big neon sign of the palm or whatever that's out front, that's off, which it never is.
Right.
At least not this time of day. So, what is your question?
I'm gonna say, what is the best way to climb in the window, which is probably the worst thing to think about for you.
Yeah. But, so like, you mean like an upper floor?
No, like, I'm sure like the lobby waiting area has a window, or like in the back. Oh, the back door has one of those like little basement window things.
Yeah, this is Detroit, so I'm assuming there's bars in the back window on the main floor. But you could get up.
He's trying to like.
Well, how about this?
He's trying to climb. Stupid, like,
I think what you see, Sam, as you sort of make your way back, is there seems to be a form that is like jumping up in the air near the building, and you can hear him cursing under your breath. And Joey, what it is, you're jumping up trying to get the fire escape. He's like, God damn fucking thing, come on, get down. And he's just not tall enough to quite get to it. He's not cursing like super loud, but just enough under his breath. So Sam, you can hear that. And then Joey, Sam's not unfortunately being, he's not being stealthy enough either. He sort of stumbles on something, and you two sort of look and face each other like, wait. And to see who's there. Neither of you are armed, I don't think. Unless Joey triggers his prepared thing.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So you spin around. We don't see anything.
But Joey says he recognizes this guy right away.
Yeah.
He's like, you, what have you done? He's like,
yeah,
like, what do you, let her go.
And Sam,
What's my
you see this guy
with Joey?
I think you recognize this. You've seen him.
He starts moving towards him. He doesn't know how to fight, so his fists aren't up in the air. They're clenched at his sides. He's like moving towards you, you know?
Yeah.
Like
and
he wants
Sam,
to get in
how's
your
Sam
face.
reacting?
Sam takes a step back. I mean, he was expecting trouble to some extent because he's very suspicious about the lights being out, and he was purposely sneaking around the back, trying to be cautious, doing it poorly, and so he didn't really. I mean, he didn't know what to expect, but didn't like what
what I'd like you to do.
Yeah,
I think I'd like you to give us a keep it together roll because it's a valued person who's in trouble. You didn't expect to find this dude here, and you're suddenly seeing some violence, having gone through what you've gone through before.
Yep. Yeah, and from my point of view, not to mess things up, Joey thinks that he just got the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And he thinks that you might be involved, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, playing the Cult is all about playing flawed, characters, right? So that. So go ahead and give us a keep it together roll.
Let's see here. Does the daredevil come into play whenever Samuel enters a dangerous situation, or is this? I don't know.
Sounds like Joey's not being dangerous yet.
Okay.
Like I'll apply that in the absolute sense where we know he doesn't have a weapon out yet. So
sounds good. Yep. Let's see. Keep it together. Okay. Okay. There we go.
What is? Oh yeah, and actually that's good. What is your stability right now? It's at minus. Because I don't think it's applying.
It's my max, which is distressed.
And what is that? -1?
Good point. Good point. It doesn't do that automatically. Got it. Yes. Wait. Hang on. Yes.
Okay.
-1.
Then, in spite of this guy coming running towards you, you've kept your cool. So, what's the last thing we see before we call it a session? Sam, you can do something.
I think since it's the last thing we do before ending the session is that he is, you see him get stressed in the same way that he did when he thought he was going to lose. Like all of a sudden the tables are turned and he realized he's way outmatched even by that guy with a kitchen knife buried in his back. Cause I've got this guy and like, dude, you're a long way from that, this kind of a thing.
What was the thing that I don't mean to interrupt here, but what was the thing we saw that when his thing manifested? Was it that his eyes went black or something? His eyes were empty, remember?
They go empty. They go kind of black empty. And so the guy gets to see in.
Yeah. Is that what's about to happen?
That starts flickering. Like it's about like he wants to continue. He wants to keep control. So he's, we don't know. Like, that's why I'm triggering.
So we can hear, in the film version, we hear the same sound cue that like,
right.
as it's coming up, and then we will call that a session. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
So
anything I can do for you, GM. I'm just trying to help out with the.
Exactly. So I love you guys. All right. So then, for those listening at home,
it's a situation comedy.
For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 2 of our Cult Divinity Lost game. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and we'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. In addition, you can find a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active. We have channels dedicated to this campaign, every other campaign we run on the channel, as well as a bunch of other great channels, just a bunch of great people, a bunch of great conversation. There's people looking for people to play with. There is information about online conventions. Lots of great stuff over there. Lots of great people. You are more than welcome to join us over there. In addition, there is a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages, which is the charity fundraising campaign we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity. Unfortunately, it still remains inactive right now because they have changed their service provider for their donations, and I haven't got confirmation that the new one that they've got as a replacement is not just a temporary holding measure. So I apologize for those who have wanted to make further donations to that campaign. I'm still trying to get that sorted out. I hope to have that for you soon. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to the players. So, Mo, Sean, and Carl, thank you so much for playing today, guys. This was another very, very fun session of Kult.
I know. Well, how much trouble can the three of us get into again?
Exactly. Yeah. So then, for those listening at home, once again, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off of your troubles and think about the troubles that our heroes in broken Detroit are getting up to. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.